And away we go to Toronto for IndyCar this time around. It is one of my favorite races on the calendar for a couple of reasons. One, you can take the train, and it's a very, very short ride because this thing is in the city. You also have driver signings inside the building, as well as the paddock. 2 seconds after arriving, we're already getting to see a car, which is amazing. We have a little bit of time to kill, but to explore before we watch free practice. And of course, I found some really delicious tacos.
I'm gonna get run over!
It is really never a dull time in the pit lane, and case in point, within the first little while, we had Marcus Ericsson having to nurse his car and bring it back into the pits because it was smoking a fair bit. And as disappointing as that was to see, it did mean that we got to watch them work on the car a little bit more than they normally would during free practice and troubleshoot. They were looking at a problem with the car as opposed to just fine-tuning a setup, so something a little bit different from what we would normally regularly see in free practice. Next, we wandered over to the other side of the pit lane and got some cute pictures because why not? Absolute tragedy struck shortly after this when Alexander Rossi went into the wall, and yep, we were right behind his pit box when that happened. It was tense, chaotic, not great thing to see, but then we ran into some friends and we were really excited, really happy because we were going out later and getting some girl dinner, but not actually girl dinner, we all just got pasta, and I got myself a frozen lemonade because it's delightful.
We've been wandering around for a good 20 minutes trying to find a Tim Hortons because we want Tim's. And this is, for one, the first one we went to was not properly geotagged, so we could not, it's just not there. There's nothing in that unit. This is the second one we go to. It's closed on the one day we want to go. So now we have to go and try to find another Tim. No coffee for me this morning, guys. We're rushing against the clock. Oh, the clock is gone. Never mind. We're headed towards Le Track. We are. Can they see the time from here? I feel like they can't. They can't. This side of the camera don't zoom. Oh well.
The good news is we made it for practice too. The bad news is we didn't pay too much attention to it because quite frankly we had the girls there and we were chatting up a storm. It was fabulous. We went around inside to look around the paddock a little bit afterwards and got a quick tour of Chip Ganassi. Couldn't film in there, but did get a good chance to talk to Sebastien Bourdais about the hybrid system and snap a cute pic. For lunch I ended up with a mediocre order of poutine, cheese not squeaky enough, fries way too dry. Overall, 6 out of 10.
So, in the pit lane for quali. Only minorly stress. When are they stressed? I'm confused. Sorry. You're confused? I'm confused.
Did you hear they're finally going to make Euphoria season 3, but only start filming it next year?
Why give it to us at that point?
Honestly.
Next up, we have one of the most fun things I've done in a long time, a bucket list item, if you will. You get to put on this race suit and all of this equipment and hop in the backseat of a 2-seater IndyCar. It was incredibly fast, obviously, really felt like you were on a roller coaster, just not attached to anything. I was laughing, smiling, grinning ear to ear the entire time. 100% one of the best things I've gotten to do in recent times, and if you ever get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it.
I think we might be a little bit tired because we just went up an escalator and just stared ahead for a good solid 5 seconds being like, where's the train? The train is we just had to turn around. And Red Bull gives you sustenance. Red Bull gives you brain. He has to be. Okay, it's okay. Do I appreciate the two McLarens were fighting? Yes and no. I feel yes and no. The race. Don't fight now. The play-by-play before we get to the Oh. Priorities, y'all. It's all the priorities.
Priorities indeed, because the next time we were in the pit lane, we grabbed more pictures with some mixed results. Mac and cheese balls, which were not nearly as cheesy as you would have wanted them to be. And then we were sat down to watch the race, including some sick dance moves from the Firebird. As you can see, our seats were right across from the pit exit, which was really fun, but unfortunately it did mean we didn't have a great view of any screens, so we had to try and keep track of what was going on with our phones, which works somewhat well, somewhat not. Either way, we had a fantastic time sitting, watching the cars zooming past. It was really great, and also watching pit stops, because one can never have enough of watching those. We did get quite hot towards the end of the race, because these stands are uncovered, and ended up retreating back to the inside of the paddock, where we all of a sudden heard an exclamation, a cry, and yes, yes, that was when the massive racing incident, 5-6 cars involved, happened. It did mean that we were well poised for when the cars came back to the paddock and got to see them being disassembled, tidied up, brought back into their spaces, and put away for the remainder of the weekend. So not a great way to finish things off, but still something interesting, something different to get to see.
It was a really chaotic race.
If you see what I'm wearing, it's no. It's okay.
I feel like
day, another sleigh. Why?
I feel like I'm in the middle of like downtown traffic, which is not completely inaccurate, but at the same time,
That pileup was insane. Thankfully, everyone walked out unscathed.
like safety features.
Whoop, whoop. My driver of the day is Terrible Chair. It takes a lot to drive a car that you know nothing about.
Wild jet lag.
Wild jet lag. So,
Like, what country? What time zone? Where is he? Who is he?
driver of the day. Granted, he was second to last, but he was number one in my heart. Half the field didn't finish, so that's a big accomplishment in my eyes.
It definitely is. but
Phenomenal first IndyCar race.
Absolutely phenomenal time. Always in Toronto.